Good morning! Hey, does this thing have more volume? Hey! Oh, no. Okay, you can all hear, right? I like to make the rafters rattle, the voice of God. Good morning and welcome. Welcome to Las Vegas Heavenly Parents Holy Community. A year ago we kind of took on that. Let's become this Heavenly Parent Holy Community where we really come to share with each other, our brothers, our sisters, our nephews, our nieces, all of us together, share and really feel the love, right? Do you all like to feel love? I really like to feel love. And I really want to thank everybody for really working so hard. I know the meetups have been going like crazy. There's so many pictures these days, and people are getting together. Most everybody forgets to take the picture, and I understand that, so I know that there's a lot more going on. And it's really changing the community. It seems like we're all, excited to see each other, excited to be here. And that's really important, especially nowadays and now times. I don't want to start off negative, but the world is spinning out of control, right? We have the wars in Ukraine. I heard China and Russia are teaming up now. We have COVID. In fact, COVID changed the service. I know you were all looking forward to young people up here this Sunday, but due to COVID, here I am. And, yes. And it goes on and on. You turn on the TV and nothing but crazy news with politics and this happening and that happening, and it starts getting to us, doesn't it? You ever turn on the news and turn it off right away because it just consumes our mind. We go to work and we hear Joe talking about Larry and Larry talking about Fred and Fred talking about Frank, and they all hate the boss and wish they were somewhere else. We go to school and Mark's talking about Mary, or Mary's talking about Mary, or something is really going on that really holds back people from really being that real child of God. It kind of gets in the way. You know what I mean? Right? And because of that, we really have to be careful, because that's going to continue on. That's really going to happen. Oh, we're already there. So today, I kind of want to talk about thoughts, right? Thoughts are around us all the time. We're always thinking. Anybody here not thinking? James? If you're not thinking, no, I don't want to say it. Anyways, I added a part. Thoughts become things, so choose the good ones. And all these thoughts that are flying around, we have to choose the good thoughts, the uplifting thoughts, the thoughts that are positive. Bob Proctor is actually the one that came up with the thoughts become things. And he was one of those self-help books. He wrote, You Were Born Rich. Anybody ever read a self-help book? They had Carnegie, and they had Think and You Become Rich, and remember The Secret? Everybody watched The Secret? All these amazing things, but it had to do with thoughts. And Bob says, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. Well, that's quite interesting. Oh, I see a mountain. I see a mountain. Where's the mountain? So there's been a lot of discussion over this self-help and what it is and what really happens and how it works. And I'm not going to get into it really, really deeply today, because I want to kind of think about thoughts, because that's kind of an important thing. But one of the books that was written was Think and Grow Rich. And in that, William Ernest Hensley, who wrote the poem Invictus, he wrote it in 1875, and he was a young man, about 20, 25 years old. But he wrote this poem, and in it there's a quote, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. I am the captain of my soul. Guess who's driving this ship? Me. Who's driving your ship? Who's driving your ship? Right? You're driving your ship. Well, sometimes we feel like we're getting bounced around, right? Tossed and turned, beat up and down, and we really wonder who's driving this ship. But it's really true. You are. And do you know why? Do you know why this is true and how it's true? Because we have the power to control our thoughts, right? I'm going to think about guitars. And, I really always wanted this Taylor. It's an 814 CE. It means custom electronics, and it's really beautiful wood. And it sounds so amazing. I really like this guitar. When you play the chords, they really ring out. And here I am. I'm just in a world of guitars right now. I'm controlling my thoughts. I'm controlling what I'm thinking. And sometimes, as I'm thinking, not thinking, other thoughts come into my mind that may not be good thoughts. And so we won't go into what's good and what's bad, but I'm sure you know the difference between heavenly and not heavenly. But thoughts come in, and we have the power to control that. We can stop that. We can say, no, out. I don't want to hear about that. I want to hear God, your parents, butterflies, right? Beautiful things, flowers and trees. I am the master of my universe. I am the captain of my soul. And this is really important because, I don't know if you know this or not, but according to scientists, we have 6,000 thoughts per day. 6,000. I was reading, actually, somebody said 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70,000. I just can't go along with that. But 6,000, I can kind of make sense, a 16-hour day. That breaks down to about 6 per minute. 6 thoughts come in your head per minute on the average. And they can range from butterflies to guitars, all kinds of things. But we have the power to control those thoughts, and it's really important that we do control those thoughts, that we focus on the positive things, that we focus on the good things, that we focus on the heavenly things, that we focus on what's really, really right. You know what I mean? And by focusing on that, we can express that. So, I don't know if you know this, but thoughts actually have vibrations. And they have frequencies. They hooked up a brain, and when thoughts would come, they would measure the brain activity. And they found that there's actual frequencies going on. So we need to tune our frequencies, because not all the thoughts that we feel or see are good or happy. Many thoughts can be sad. Lost my job. My car broke down. Baby's at the doctor. It's storming and my roof leaks. And we can get consumed by those kinds of things. I worked one time at a car dealership. A lot of you know that. And my favorite part, I was what they call a used car manager. And what I did was I went to auctions and I bought cars. And at one point we had 3 dealerships. And I bought maybe 300 or 400 cars a month, maybe even more than that, because that's what we sold, and it just happened to be a Mitsubishi dealership, which didn't take in the nicest trades at the time. So to get good, nice cars, I was out there buying, and I loved it. But I also had to buy them, come back, and stocked in, and price them, gauge them, book them, this and that. I had to get them through the shop. So I had to be friends with all the mechanics, because when I put a car through the shop, it's just like you putting a car through the shop. Well, let's see here. This is wrong and that's wrong. You need tires, brakes. It'll be $4,042. And are you kidding me? But we had this one mechanic, and the owner and I were kind of walking through the shop. Him and I became very good, close friends, actually. And his name is Daryl. And I was talking to Daryl, and I said, I heard Mark over here has had another problem with a customer car. He goes, that guy, everything he touches, he screws up. I don't know how he does it, but every single thing he touches, it breaks or it quits or something crazy happens. I said, yeah, I feel kind of sad for him. I feel kind of bad. He goes, why? I said, well, the guy's got a cloud over his head. Cloud over his head. Bad luck. The poor guy. Daryl got really kind of upset with me. He said, it is his fault. And I thought, well, you insensitive guy, you. Come on, But I started thinking about this, and as it went on, I kind of understood what he was talking about. Do you ever, some people do have a lot of issues. The car breaks down, the electric toothbrush quits, they're out of toothpaste, whatever it is, it goes on and on. But if you talk to them, how you doing? I don't know, let's see. I'm not sure. Well, are you okay? Well, yeah, but actually, I don't know, because I got this bill to pay, and if I don't pay it, they're going to turn my lights off. And when you talk to the person, it goes on and on and on like that. And sure enough, all these things happen to them. Did you ever, many of you are too young, but there was a cartoon. It was by Al Cap, and it talked about Joe Bitzaflick. Don't know how to pronounce it. I did that on the Google pronounce, and it spelled the name. Joe BTFSLPLK, I said, well, that's not it. But anyways, he had the cloud over his head, and the jokes are always that. This guy's got this car he's had for 40 years without an accident, never had a problem. He's had a charmed life. And guess what? Here he comes. Here's his foot. He's coming over, and then this truck driver, he's looking at somebody, and all of a sudden, crash. He's got the cloud. What do you suppose he's thinking about? I'm sure it's not positive. So our thoughts affect who we are and what we do and what we become. On the opposite side of that, in Philippians 4:8, the Apostle Paul was speaking with the people from, is it Philippi? Something like that. Anyways, he said, finally, after he had spoken with them, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? If we're thinking how bad things are and we seem to stumble from one difficult situation to another one, then if we think positive and good things and heavenly things and beautiful things and righteous things, if we keep those thoughts in our mind, positive thinking, we should be positive, right? Yeah. If we can keep those thoughts in our mind, that's a challenge. But remember, you are the captain of your ship. You row your own boat. You can control your thoughts. When the thought comes up, my car's breaking down, well, I know we have to think about it. But don't worry, the bus ride will do me good. I'll meet some people, maybe meet somebody to bring to church, right? So why is this? Because our thoughts produce outcome. What we think can be manifested into things. And so that brings up the law of attraction. Everybody heard of law of attraction? That's in all those books, The Secret, the Carnegie Hall, the Think and Grow Rich, and on and on and on. It's about the law of attraction. Now, I'm going to give you just a brief. This is called the law of attraction for young and older. And because there's some important principles that if you kind of remember, it helps. It really helps. So the energy of your thoughts manifest your experiences. So what you're thinking can come out in what you're doing. And this is because of the law of attraction, and it's like attracts like. You know what I mean? Musicians usually hang out with musicians, and pastors hang out with pastors. No, I'm not sure. But like things attract the same. It's a law. And whether we realize it or not, we are responsible for bringing both positive and negative influences into our lives. So we're responsible for the bad thoughts, and we're responsible for the good thoughts. And we control that. We can say bad thoughts, good thoughts. Bad thoughts, good thoughts. You know what I mean? And in doing so, if we think about everything that we're doing is attracting something like it, we don't want to think about war. I mean, that's a terrible thing. And as we think about that, our mind drifts into so many places. Now, I understand there's things that you have to think about and talk about, granted. But like attracts like. Next is nature abhors a vacuum. What does that mean? That means that in your mind, if you empty out the negative thoughts, right? In your mind, empty out the negative thoughts. And if you empty out the negative thoughts, guess what? The good thoughts can come in. And then you can fill your mind with good thoughts. So we push out the negative thoughts, the bad thoughts, the difficult thoughts, push them out, and that'll make room like a vacuum. It'll suck in, it'll bring in, I'm not sure the right word, but you can receive more of the positive thoughts. And that's really important because if our whole mind is filled with positive thoughts, guess what? We're positive and we're doing positive things. And the present is always perfect. Now, what this means is no matter what happens, it's right. Whatever happens, it's happening. But it's what you do with what's happening that makes the difference. Let's say I come up here, and I've done it a few times, and I catch my foot, and I start to trip. Well, I can let myself go and kabash, right? Or I can try to catch myself and steady myself and avoid that accident. In every situation, there's more than one thing that we can do. What we want to do is take that negative situation and turn it into a positive situation. And by what we do, what we act, what we say, what we feel, what we see, that'll help us to do that. And that's what's important. Everything is good. Everything happens for a reason. And who knows what it is? I remember being late, and I was so stressed. I hate to be late. I just hate to be late. And here it was, one of those days, and I was really late. And not only that, but I was really low on gas, and I didn't think I could make it, so I had to stop at a gas station even later. And I'm just really, really, really upset, nervous, thinking terrible. But it turned out, when I was at that gas station, I met somebody that, when I met them, I felt there was something right about that meeting. I felt, wow. So I talked to the person a little bit, and we went back and forth, and actually we ended up meeting later. And it turned out to be a friend, turned out to be somebody that really was seeking for God, and somehow we got together and talked about it. So you don't know about the situation. So whatever it is, the present is always perfect, and turn the negative into a positive. So there's 3 easy things here to think about. One is to be grateful. Be grateful for everything. When you get up in the morning, thank you, God. I'm alive. I'm standing here. I'm breathing air. You ever held your breath for a couple of minutes? Have you tried it? I'm sure you have, many. At the end of the couple of minutes, you're and that breath there, it feels so good, doesn't it? Gosh, you can taste the air. It's so special. Be grateful. Be grateful for the flowers, your spouse, your children, your parents. Be grateful for our community. And the more you're grateful, these are positive thoughts. If you're grateful for something, you're positive about it, right? It helps to change that. This is where we get into the law of attraction for young and old. I want $1 million, right? Well, I should say $1 billion. $1 million's nothing anymore. I want $1 billion. Oops. You have to visualize what you want. The law of attraction says you need to visualize that. So this is different for many people. When you're young, you might want to be the most famous piano player there ever was. You might want to play concert pianos in stadiums. If that's your goal, then you have to really picture that. You have to see yourself playing in the Carnegie Hall or wherever it is that you're supposed to play. You have to see yourself, put yourself on the refrigerator, a picture of you playing the piano, being number one, practice, think about chords and scales and styles. And you have to focus on it. You have to think about it. You have to make goals and visualize those goals. Write down, I want to be the best piano player in the world. You know, put that up on your refrigerator. In the morning when you wake up, I want to be the best piano player. It could be, I want to make straight A's. It could be, I want a new car. No. For some of us older people, it might be, please send me 3 spiritual children. Please help me to become jumbo. Please help me in this community when there's somebody that really bothers me, but I really love them. You know what I mean? But it's all the same principles, and if you try them, it will help. I'm still waiting for $1 million, so obviously I was doing something wrong, but don't let that stop you because there are people that have. But you have to focus it. You have to think about it. It has to be a priority. You have to be passionate about it. So maybe you want to be a doctor. Maybe you want to be a great leader. Maybe, who knows? Maybe you want to be president. Those are all things that are attainable. And look for the positives in a situation. Every situation has some positive aspect. So don't dwell on the negative. Think about the positive. What is good about this? What will make it good? What can I do to make it good? So we can use these things to improve ourselves, but you also need, like I said, to protect yourself. Nowadays, there's a lot going on. The world, like I said, it's crazy. And you just have to be careful to what you get involved in, what you listen to. So, actually, I was looking for some true parents' words, and would you believe? Reverend Moon, your father, wrote or gave a speech in 1979 that says, "Let us think." I said, oh, that's what I'm looking for. He says, thinking makes things happen. There are 2 kinds of men, one thinking of divine and spiritual things, and another preoccupied with cheap, everyday, earthly things. What kind of man would you become? It is a quality of a person's thinking that describes his nobility or lack of nobility. If a person is thinking nobly, his thoughts must inevitably lead him into a noble life. Thoughts are important. Thoughts are things. In fact, watch your thoughts because they become words. And watch your words because they become actions. Watch your actions because they become habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character because it becomes your destiny. Thank you very much.